Should the Spurs re-sign Keita Bates-Diop?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. TGIF, everybody. It's it. Your weekend is here. Hope everybody's having a great one and getting ready for a couple of days off. What are we talking about today? We're going to be looking at Keita Bates-Diop. He's a free agent now. Technically, as soon as the offseason begins, the free agency begins, he may or may not be a Spur next season. But why should or should not the Spurs keep him around? Also, we're going to talk a little about the NBA play-in and why it's a good thing that Manu Ginobili is a local investor in a minor league baseball out in San Antonio. So once again, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every single day. You guys are the everydayers, and we appreciate you coming out here to Locked On Spurs every day. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make sure you go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sports book of Locked On. Make every moment more. Just going to bring in our guest. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Rudy Campos. Rudy, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. He is with Sweep the League, but he's also making I heard you're making a push to become a senator in Texas. So hopefully everything's going well on that front. Rudy.
Yeah, I don't think the state of Texas could handle me as a politician when it comes to senator or anything like that. So I'm going to just stay out of it, and I'm going to go for the local, maybe mayor of San Antonio, and that's about as high as I'll go.
I think you'd be a good mayor.
Think so? I
think you would, yeah. You got that even keel personality. I don't think I ever heard you really get mad, like mad angry. I think you got the little diplomat in you.
Yeah, I kind of have a calm demeanor. I have gotten upset. I have gotten mad, but I kind of do it behind closed doors because, I guess, I can really be really mean sometimes. And that's just the way I guess it is, man. But I have a calm demeanor when it comes to everything else. Yeah,
I've seen behind the scenes, I'm not going to talk about what everybody, but I've seen Rudy call me about stuff that gets him upset. And let's just say, even when he has a legit reason to be upset, he's still like this. He's calm. So I'm like on the phone with him, like, is he upset or is he sad or what's bothering him? But anyway,
maybe I should be a politician then.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Sweep the League. So Rudy, the offseason for the Silver and Black is here, and they got a lot of decisions to make, whether it be, obviously the biggest one is what's going to happen in the draft lottery. That's going to be a decision where they land. And then it comes the roster, and whether or not to keep or just say adios to a few free agents. Now, one of them is Keita Bates-Diop. Kind of one of is it safe to say an unsung hero of a bad season? Because he had some good games, keeping the kids and the team in games. Kind of was flying under the radar, really had a very nice season. I think overall, before we get into whether the Spurs should keep him or not, I think he had a good one. He had a good season despite the record, Rudy.
Yeah, despite the record, I mean, he really had a good season. Now, the numbers don't, stand out tremendously. Like when you say a really good season, 9.7 points a game, 3.7 rebounds, an assist a game. Really important is he shot 50% from the field, 39% from three-point range. Like I said, nothing that stands out completely where it's like, oh, it's a great season, really good season. But it was a productive season. And what I really loved about Bates-Diop was the fact that at the end of the season, he turned it on completely, especially in April, averaging 18 points a game. The more minutes he got, the better his play was. So definitely a good season for him. I think he showed the Spurs organization that he can be productive, which is beneficial for him going into the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, there were career highs in scoring, as you mentioned, 9.7, best in his career. He had a career high in assist, 1.5. He had a career, a best in shooting, from the three line. He shot 39% from the three line, really, really well. And overall, very productive, steady force. And you're right, throughout the season, he got better and better. You look at some of the numbers he dropped, You know, 18, you mentioned 18 points per game in April, and just considerable increases from January, 7.9 points per game to February, 10.4 to March, 11.5 points per game. And of course, the 18 in April to close out the season. Even his assist got better. He went from 2.5 in February and closed out the season in April with 3.2. Really solid, good role player. And a part of me also thinks this too, and when I will get into whether the Spurs should keep him or not. I think they should, because he is a lone NBA veteran and a very young team, and a young NBA veteran who's already familiar with the Spurs system. He's familiar with what these kids are going through. He's familiar with what Coach Pop expects on the court. I think you got to keep him around. Rudy, your thoughts?
Yeah, my first like thoughts and assessment of everything was that he really needs to re-sign with the Spurs, and they need to really keep him with the San Antonio organization. And the thing is that he's not going to command a huge salary,
right.
Even if he was to test free agency. He's not going to command a lot anywhere else. It's going to be about I wouldn't say it's going to be a veteran minimum, but it's going to be a decent amount for him. And I think the Spurs have enough cap room. They have enough space on the roster to bring him back. I really feel he should be in the silver and black next season. Very good asset. And like you said, one of the lone veterans, considering an offseason where we could see guys like Doug McDermott being moved. Veterans are probably going to be on the move. It's going to be probably a younger team next year. So keeping as many veterans like KDB on the roster is very important.
You know, the Spurs definitely have a lot of cash on hand to give him a nice pay bump. They don't have enough. They don't have as much cash as you do, Rudy, in your bank account. But nevertheless, I think they can afford to give him a pay raise. I think he earned it, and they should keep him around if they decide to. Now, the biggest wrench in all this is free agency itself, and of course, the NBA draft. Do you think things change? We'll start off with the draft. If they bring in a Brandon Miller, if they do bring in, one of the Thompson guys, I know not the guard, which is the forward, with the one place that I always get that confused. Is it Amon? Is Azir? Okay. If they bring him aboard, if they bring in another young forward at his spot next season, look, I think he would be okay coming off the bench if that happens. But if they're really going to put a reset / continue going with the youth movement rebuild, that's something to look out for. Do you think, we'll start off with the draft again, that's going to impact perhaps his status with San Antonio moving forward?
100% no on that. It doesn't affect, the draft doesn't affect BatesDiop status at all when it comes to the silver and black. The thing is I've seen some comments, especially on one of our Locked On episodes about the draft, where I've said this draft is a pretty weak draft, and I'm still standing by it. It's not a legitimate big time superstar draft. A lot of these kids are prospects, that are going to come in. They're going to be projects, and having a guy like BatesDiop still around with San Antonio is going to be huge for the development. You can't expect a guy like Brandon Miller to come into San Antonio and just turn heads right away. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to develop. And a guy like KDB coming in and staying with San Antonio is going to help the development, whether it be a Thompson, whether it be a Miller, or, anyone down like Grady Dick from Kansas. I mean, anyone they draft is not going to affect what he does. I mean, even if you look at Scooter Wemby 1 and 2 right now, they don't play his position. So it's still a needed position for the Spurs. That's the main reason why I think the draft does not affect his status at all when it comes to the team.
Interesting, though, when it comes to him, he can play both the 3 and the 4. So that's really good. So he's switchable, at least in that department. I think the Spurs tried him out for one game at the shooting guard spot, but really the bulk of it was at the 3 or the 4 spot. Interesting. He plays better at a small forward position. The numbers show that. He played about 25 minutes at the small forward spot, averaged about 10 points per game through 26 games played at that position. They moved him to the power forward spot, 40 games last season, 9.2 at about 19.4 points per game. So not that much of a difference. But it's interesting, though, it really jumps at the small forward spot, 4.2 rebounds as opposed to the power forward spot. Even his 3-point shooting didn't really impact, 39% at both positions. So he's switchable in that department, and I think that'll bode well. I think he'd be a great complementary piece to some kid named Wembanyama if they do get him. Rudy, your thoughts?
Yeah, he would be a good complimentary piece. He's got the shooting stroke to where it'll help Wemby. Again, a lot of teams are going to collapse on Wembanyama. They see some of the stuff that a lot of scouts see, and they're going to collapse on him. They're going to make it really tough for him. So you've got to surround him with shooters and guys that can score. And BatesDiop is definitely one of those guys. He can put it on the floor. He can score. He can shoot the ball. He benefits from playing with a guy like Wembanyama. And one thing you got to remember, Jeff, as well, is we saw the injuries this year between Devin and even Keldon having some time. Mm-hmm. That's two positions that BatesDiop can fill. So without having certainty that Devin isn't going to be out for a longer period of time like he was this year, and Keldon going down again for a week or two, with an injury, this is where he comes out, and he benefits a lot by staying with the silver and black. But ultimately, with Wemby by his side, yeah, BatesDiop is going to be real good beneficial. And even if Scoot is a San Antonio Spur come the draft, again, you got a wing player like KDB that can score, that can shoot. So he's beneficial any way you look at it. That's why he's got to stay with the Spurs, in my opinion.
Before we go into our next segment, I want to leave you with this, and we'll get your final thoughts on whether the Spurs should keep or let go of BatesDiop. Look at the last 3 games of the season that he played in. Really, really was impactful. Averaged about 25 minutes a game, 21 points per game in the final 3 games for the Spurs, 5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and even shot the ball 55% from the field and 45% from the 3-line. Now, granted, he took about 3.5 shots from 3-line, but he made about 1.7, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt too. So really effective. So he really closed out the season with a bang, and really is going to make that Spurs brass coaching staff think about his future in San Antonio. I think he does come back. I think he's exactly what this young Spurs team needs. When we get back, we're going to wrap up our chat about BatesDiop and then get into some play-in talk. And then Manu Ginobili making an impact in San Antonio. Rudy got a chance to check that out. And also don't forget David Robinson as well. Can't forget Big Dave. So Rudy will talk to you about that and what he has to say about those 2 legends staying in San Antonio. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about one of our great advertisers here, and that is Nissan. Look, the Nissan Ariya, you got to get it. You want to go to shopnissanusa.com right now. And by the way, Nissan's most electric player of the week right here on Locked On Spurs is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. No, we're going to give it a BatesDiop. What a way to close out the season. We just gave you the numbers, double figure scoring. We're shooting the ball great, really making an impact for this young Spurs team. And really is going to make the Spurs coaching staff and brass think twice about letting him go. I think they're going to keep him. But nevertheless, what a way to close out the season. Nissan's most electric player of the week right here is Keita BatesDiop, brought to you by the all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. It's electric, brilliantly fierce, fiercely elegant, stunningly powerful, elegantly powerful. It delivers on a duality, combination of fierceness and elegance, beautiful but strong, the perfect SUV crossover. The Nissan Ariya packs pin-to-your-seat power and premium intelligence all in one EV. The all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. He is on Twitter at Sweep the League. And let him know that you're going to be willing to make a campaign contribution to his mayoral candidacy in San Antonio. I'm going to chip in 50 cents. How about that, Rudy?
That's actually 50 cents more than I need, man. That's too much money right there for me. I'm going to have to pay so much.
You can use it to keep BatesDiop in San Antonio. You can chip in on that if the Spurs need your help. I don't think they need help. They got a lot of money in this offseason, don't they, man? Jeez.
They are set, and what I love about it is they are set not just for this offseason. They are set for the future of off seasons. And when we talk playoffs, I'll explain why it's so important.
All right. Well, let's go to wrap up our chat about BatesDiop here. So, if I understand correctly, you're on board with the Spurs retaining him, right?
100%, yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Spurs are going to keep him around now, barring anything crazy like we didn't get into this free agency, like some small forward, big name time free agent wants to come to San Antonio, or they throw cash at him and he says yes, I think that changes everything. But nevertheless, I think the Spurs should keep him. I think the chemistry, the familiarity, and the numbers that he did to close out the season definitely leans to that. But hey, Rudy, the NBA play-in are underway. Spurs are not in it, but nevertheless, is it just me, or is it the play-in games more exciting than the actual playoffs? We've had some thrillers to start the NBA play-in series.
Yeah, I'm not, I was never a fan of the play-in series at all. I figured, you top 8 teams are going to make it. That's good. Why add these extra teams? But I've started to slowly come around to it. I'm actually enjoying it. And it's kind of like, a little bit of March Madness type stuff where one game it's one and done, you're out. Another game you lose, you still have another chance. But if you lose again, you're out. And what it does is it allows these teams like an OKC is the reason why I mentioned about the Spurs earlier being so important. A team like OKC got into the Playin Game. They go into New Orleans and they beat the Pelicans. And now they've got a chance to upset Minnesota to get into the playoffs. Why is that so important? Because it allows 2 teams from the bottom tier of the conference to get in and get a chance. You see some of these younger guys, these younger stars of tomorrow getting an opportunity to make that playoffs push. And we're seeing it, especially like I said with OKC. They've just stockpiled draft picks, and they've drafted so well. Hence, Sam Presti, former Spurs guy. The Spurs are always in the mix when it comes to drafting. They draft so well when it comes to talent. And that's why it's so important for the Spurs to have these off seasons with extra draft picks, making these moves, having free up some cash, because they can go in and get some of these types of players. OKC's got Josh Giddey. They've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They've got a lot of great talent. But you're seeing that now with the play-in game. And it's making it so exciting because, like I said, these younger guys are getting that opportunity, man. We see a former Spurs, DeMar DeRozan, taking the Bulls, into Toronto and winning that game. That was very unexpected. So playing basketball is getting pretty exciting. Playoff basketball, I feel this season is going to actually be really, really good. And I haven't said that for many years, and I'm actually kind of excited for this season.
Yeah, I'm excited for the playoff series between the Warriors and the Kings. I think that one could be just incredible. I think that one's going to be really good. You going with Kings in 6?
I definitely am.
I'm going with Warriors in 7. I think that experience is gonna really help them.
I use the word overrated very loosely when I call the Warriors. They're not overrated. I just don't think that they have they're going to really miss the interior. The interior position is going to really hurt them. Sabonis is going to have a really big game, but I just think the Kings are playing so well right now overall. Combined, like they are one of the most complete starting fives right now in the NBA, and they're playing really well right now. That's why I've got their Kings in 6.
Yeah, speaking of Kings, you know what bothered me? Did you ever see that video of the Coyote going to Sacramento and worshiping the game?
Yeah,
I didn't appreciate that, Coyote. So you still need to make amends to that.
I'm still wondering if they stole the Coyote. Someone just kind of
they could have brainwashed
the Coyote
because wasn't he worshiping a light? It was like a cult.
Well, you and I know the Force is a real thing, so
that's true.
He could have been, someone was using the Force to play with his mind and be able to mind tricks here. So I don't know.
Coyote, if that's what it was, then we'll forgive you. But you still got to make amends to that. But no, the play-in tournaments has been really fun. You mentioned the Bulls beating the Raptors. By the way, I think the Raptors really got to look in the mirror soon, because how do you do that? How do you another playoff exit? You mentioned the Kings. I think that's going to be a good game. And speaking of the Kings, Sabonis, I know they list him as a center, but how come every time I look at him on play, he doesn't look like a center? Like, he doesn't look like a traditional center. Like, remember his dad? His dad was a center. You could not ignore the fact that his dad was a beast in the middle.
His dad, Arvidas. I mean, people really don't know, and I've gotten a lot of flack from people saying, how terrible I am and stuff when I say Arvidas Sabonis is legitimately probably the greatest, one, if not the greatest center overall to play the game. And I'm talking hands down the most talented and gifted center. I know Jabbar, I know all these guys, Hakeem Olajuwon, but when you talk about from scoring to assist to rebound, everything, basically you're seeing Jokic right now is what prime Arvydas Sabonis was times like 10. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, definitely one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and overall, the series are good. Boston, I think that's going to be interesting. It's almost weird. It's like the East, you can kind of predict who's going to be the last team standing, likely Boston or Milwaukee. The West, in my opinion, I think is still wide open. If you're to tell me the Lakers made it all the way to the finals, the West Finals, I wouldn't be surprised. You would tell me the Kings do it, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, maybe your Thunder will surprise me, but it's still kind of a wide open. I mean, the Warriors, I know you're not big on them, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be surprised to see them in the West Finals. So, yeah, the West playoffs are shaping up to be really, really fun. A lot of Spurs representation. Well, some already gone already. DeJounte Murray, he's advanced. Derek White is there. Who am I missing? Roberto's gone.
Well, Kerr, coach.
Well, yeah, Coach Kerr. Yeah, he's still there. Yep.
Mike Brown for the Kings.
Mike Brown. Yep. Budenholzer for the Bucks. Derek White, is there. So yeah, this is DeJounte's second time in the playoffs? Because he did it one time with the Big Three, and the trail end of the Big Three, and then of course Kawhi. But Danny Green is in it too. Fun. Right? With Memphis?
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a lot of Spurs.
A lot. Kyle Anderson.
Kyle Anderson, yeah.
He's still he's technically still in it. He's got the play-in against OKC, but
I know they don't consider the play-in playoffs. I know there's some debate. I don't consider it playoffs. It's not that. You're trying to get into the playoffs. So it's not these are not the playoffs. But nevertheless, the play-in games have been really, really fun. So there's a lot of ex-Spurs still playing. A good reason to check out that and much, much more. Hey, when we get back, we're going to be talking about some off-the-court news, specifically two legends in San Antonio, Manu Ginobili and David Robinson. Rudy got a chance to catch up with them at a local basketball minor league team and why it's important that they were there right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Hey, I want to talk to you about Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious snack, but you don't want all the sugar and calories, then you need to get the best tasting protein bar ever. It's called Built. You got to try this. If you're like me, you want to make a healthy snack choice, but you don't want to compromise on taste, then I got the thing for you, Built Bars and Built Puffs. Built Bars are healthy and they taste amazing. They taste so amazing, you wouldn't even think that they're good for you. You got to try this. What makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and cookies and cream. I don't know how Built does this, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. Get this. Only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. Rudy's been losing weight. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets a box of Built Bars soon. So with this type of macros. But nevertheless, look, you don't need to wait to get a box anymore. For years, we've been talking about ordering Built Bars at Built.com, but now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. And you can still get your specialty flavors still at Built.com. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, grab yourself a box of Built Bars. They have a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puff. But if you're close to a Sam's Club, grab a 13-bar box with hit flavors such as brownie batter puff, churro puff. You can thank me later. And we cannot forget about Mudslingers in San Antonio. Yes, a local company is advertising right here on Locked On Spurs. So we appreciate you, Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Look, if you stayed up late last night or you just need a quick pick-me-up or just a great drink, go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now. Mudslingers is locally owned an independent coffee shop, and they're proud to make delicious coffee for our San Antonio community. They do it fast and friendly so you get on with your day. So whether you're in the mood for a latte, cold brew, or a Red Bull-infused lightning bolt. Rudy, you can handle that, right? A Red Bull-infused lightning bolt drink? Is that okay for you?
I'm already awake just thinking about it. Yeah.
By the way, the last time we had Casey Vieira and we're doing this ad read, and I mentioned the Red Bull infused lightning bolt. I don't think he was talking about this, but he said that he went to Mudslingers and he got himself a drink that it woke him up so much that he chose violence, that he wanted to punch a wall. That's how powerful these things are. But they're good. They'll wake you up, though.
I'm going to have to try one. I've been to Mudslingers a lot. Love them. And I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to have to really try it.
Don't punch me, because Casey said he would be tempted to punch me. So I hope you don't know. You're bigger than Casey, so I wouldn't want to hit for your punch. But nevertheless, no, they don't make you punch everybody. Mudslingers gets you just going for your day. They get you a big old smile on your face when you get one of their delicious drinks. Look, they have a wide selection of dairy alternatives, low-calorie options, even caffeine-free drinks for those who want to take it easy. Go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now if you're in San Antonio for a tasty and convenient caffeine fix located at 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive near 281 to 1604. They're open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Life is too short for bland coffee. Rudy, let's continue our chat about the silver and black with some off-the-court news. Now, for those who don't know, Manu Ginobili is an investor, part owner in a minor league baseball team in San Antonio called the San Antonio Missions. Also joining him in that endeavor is David Robinson. But David Robinson really, he is a businessman, big time businessman in San Antonio and beyond. But Manu Ginobili is a part of this. Now, why is this important? Well, because it keeps the Missions around. And for more on that, let's go to Rudy now. Rudy, you were at the game. You got to see Robinson. You got to see Manu address the crowd there. Tell us what happened. What was going on?
Yeah, so obviously Manu addressed the crowd. He really didn't speak to media much there, but what it does for Manu and David, a lot of the guys coming into the San Antonio Missions. Now, let's be real, the Missions don't grab a whole lot of attendance, and, it's kind of a long baseball season. That's kind of what drags baseball down a lot, is the long season itself. But it's very important because you've got to get a lot of local investors to buy into a product. And seeing that Manu and David, especially with Nolan Ryan being present, it shows a lot of support by very important people. And when I say people, I mean athletes. Athletes are so important when it comes to supporting local teams. And that's very, very good for them. It allows the Missions to be, I guess, open to other people as well that weren't involved, because now you see Manu Ginobili, where does that take you to? He's got a huge fan base, international fan base. So seeing that Manu's tied to the Missions organization now gets you an international flavor. And baseball is about international. I mean, you got guys from Cuba, you got guys from Puerto Rico, everywhere that come in to play the game of baseball. So it gives you that international feel with Manu being a part of the organization. You see David is very, very involved with the San Antonio Spurs as far as an investment goes. He's been, part of the organization with them too. Also being involved now with the Missions is so huge for him. Great for the city of San Antonio. But the biggest thing I see, and this is my own personal opinion on it because I don't have any insight or anything, but seeing this will allow the Missions to expand to probably a bigger stadium.
Right.
And that's what they need. They need a better centrally located stadium. Wolf is great, but it's already done. It's done its due. It's ran its course. They got to get a bigger stadium. But you want to have an MLB team or maybe even a AAA team instead of AA team, you got to get a bigger area. You got to get a bigger stadium. That's where you start getting more of the revenue in. So seeing these guys actually investing into it and promoting it and being a part of it is such a great feeling for the San Antonio Missions organization. Just seeing the game, I went to the game last night, the other night actually, and just seeing the crowd there was 3,100 people there. Just the vibe there was a lot different, knowing that there's more investors in.
Yeah. And look, we know that Robinson is a big-time businessman in San Antonio ever since he retired. But Manu, low-key, really is one, too. Not only from the Missions, he has a lot of investments in South America, in Argentina, Mexico, and I think Brazil. He's, invested in several other startup companies. I think more of a tech side. For those who don't know, Manu really loves tech stuff. But to see him really step forward and take a big role in this is really good. He was decked out in the Missions baseball cap, the Missions jersey, really address the crowd. I wish he would have spoke to the media, though. I think that was kind of a misstep on their part. I don't know what the Missions were thinking, but I think they should have provided that for the media. But nevertheless, good on Manu, good on David as well. For those fans that are listening in right now, what you mentioned right now, the Missions and what level they are. Are they at the bottom of the minor league system? So what exactly did Manu invest in? Like the weakest minor league team level? Like, how did that work?
No, so in baseball, when you draft it, there's AA plus league, then you got AA, AAA, and then you got the MLB. So AAA is right before the MLB. AA is what the San Antonio Missions are. They're AA affiliate of the San Diego Padres. So basically, if you're a prospect, and right now they've got their number 18th prospect or 13th prospect, Corey Howell is part of the San Antonio Missions, as well as their number 28th prospect, which is Tirso Ornales. They're playing in San Antonio. So these guys are 2 levels away from basically being MLB on an MLB roster for San Diego Padres. Development-wise, AA is, if you think about it like school, your MLB is where you start your career. AAA is college. AA is like high school. You're getting ready for that next level, single A ball, and then, other types of ball is kind of like your elementary, middle school type stuff. So right now these guys are at high school getting ready for that college level. Sometimes you'll see a guy go from AA all the way to MLB, really quickly. Saw a guy for the Texas Rangers organization the other night. Evan Carter is the number 1 prospect. I mean, he's probably not going to be in AA much longer. He's probably going to be in the MLB roster probably by the end of the season. He's that good. So just keeping in mind, you're seeing some guys that are right on the cusp of getting to that next level. But the good thing about it with the Missions, when you've got superstars like the San Diego Padres have Fernando Tatis, one of the bigger stars in the league, when they get injured, they come down to AA ball. So they'll get some reps in AA, go to AAA, then back up to MLB. So that's the benefit of having the San Antonio Missions in San Antonio. You're going to get some of these elite superstars down in San Antonio for, a quick couple of games. It's almost like the G League for the NBA. You may get some of these younger prospects that are superstars down for a little bit, then right back up.
Yeah.
So that's the beneficial part of the Missions.
Got it. Now, it's a good thing that Manu's doing this and David as well. I think it keeps the mojo going. I think that is the push to get a new stadium for the Missions, and Manu would definitely be a part of that. He's part owner, right? Not just an investor, right? He's going to be in the daily operations, I think.
I've got to clarify that. From what I understand, it's an investor, but I'll get some clarification for you to make sure that he's not part owner, but I'll get clarification on that.
Once again, Spurs, whether they're in uniform now or fully retired, still making an impact on the San Antonio community. We know David has been doing that. Manu is doing that as well now. And Rudy is going to be covering Missions games and so much more. What's going on with Sweep the League?
So, we do provide a podcast at least once a week. We've been kind of on a hiatus lately, but we're bouncing back. We've got Missions coverage. We're going to be covering the Missions game. NBA draft coverage is coming up. And also, I wanted to also share with Jeff as well is that I just recently launched my own Substack. So I'm going to be posting my Missions articles as well as as well as my other articles for MLB, NBA, NFL, everything like that. Quick hits on a lot of stuff. And it's free. I don't charge anything because Jeff says I am the billionaire, the Richie Rich of the San Antonio media thing. So I don't need any money from you guys.
Jealous. You make Stark jealous.
Well, Tony has called me up recently for a loan, so I'm gonna have to buy into his Mach 100. That's going to be coming.
You better send one of those to me as a gift, man. I take one of those right away.
Yeah, my Substack is free for you to subscribe to. So
cool. Look at Rudy spreading his wings out there. I need to start doing that more. Look, I love the Spurs, and that'll always be my bread and butter. But I need to start doing that. I need to start doing something like that. I don't know. I got too much on my plate. Maybe not. I got too much between. I mean, I kind of dabble a little bit with the NBA 2K League, but that's only when the Spurs season is over, where I'll make the jump to that because it's kind of a perfect, kind transition. But nevertheless, yes, Rudy is definitely got you all covered for all things sports, not just Spurs, but Spurs are included as well. Follow him on Twitter at Sweep the League. And once again, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day, free and available wherever you get podcasts. You everydayers need to also subscribe to Locked On Spurs on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Odyssey app, iHeart. It's all there. And we thank you for being an everydayer right here on the Locked On Spurs show, as well as the Locked On NBA network. And second listen, check out Game to Game NBA, every recap, every stat, hot takes, local analysis brought to you by the Locked On Game to Game NBA app and podcast show. So check that out on the Odyssey app, iHeart, wherever you get favorite podcasts. So for Rudy Campos, who makes Tony Stark jealous with his billions, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.